Hello, this is Dr. Embody, and I'd like to take a moment and just get you started on this Project 2. Now, the basic idea here is that we're emulating what a meter reader might be doing. And to get a sense of that, let's actually take a look at the code running. And so it asks you to enter a customer code, so we do the regular one, give it a reading. I won't do all the digits here. It then says, okay, we had customer code and the beginning and ending readings, the amount of water was used, and the amount billed. And there's different kinds of customers. Now you're supposed to be assuming that it actually goes out to all the digits. I'm just cheating because my program at this point doesn't really care. And one of the things that it does need to handle is the fact that maybe we're going to, that this thing will in fact overflow, because meters will wrap around. So we do have to account for that. This didn't work out very well because I didn't do it out to all the digits, but you get the idea. And then something to exit. All right, so now what's really going on? And the idea really has to do with the breaking this down into something simpler. So, for example, what was our project 1 doing? What we did was we input something, and then we did a calculation, and then we printed. And what we're adding this time is we're going to keep doing that. If you look at the code that we had, if we go back to our window, we input customer code and a couple of readings. We did some calculation, and then we did some output. So there was the input, calculate, and then print some stuff out. And then we start the whole process all over again. Okay? And we keep doing that. We go around and around and around, input, calculate, print, input, calculate, print, until I give it an input that's not one of the specified characters, the I, the C, or the R. Anything I put in here will stop this. So the topic for this week is looping and doing conditionals and so on. So that's what we'll be working on. Practicing in this is doing the looping, so we keep going around and around and around. And also, by the way, when we're doing the calculating, you'll notice that it will be things like, if the input is R, we'll do some calculations, else if the input is like I, then I'll do some other calculation and so on. And within those calculations, you may find that there is another if. If the input is over 1 million, over 4 million or something, we'll calculate one way, else we'll calculate it another way. So we're building this in pieces. And what I suggest you do with doing this is, first of all, let's just do the loop. In fact, we'll just do a loop where all we do is we input a character, don't even do any calculation, and print, just so I can handle. All right, I'm going to keep going as long as one of these 3 characters, the I, the R, or C, is input. And I type in anything else, it will exit. Notice what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to simplify this problem into manageable pieces. And I've done that here. Let's take a look. So here's a piece of code. And all it does is says enter a character, I put in an R, it prints the R, comes back, asks me for another character, I can give it another R if I want, I give it a C, I can give it an I can do that forever, and as soon as I give it some other character, boom, it stops. All right, and I write a little message that it stopped with that. So this is about 5 lines of code, but a while loop has a Boolean condition. So what is the Boolean condition that will give me this control? And as soon as I have that, then I have the looping part of this project, and I can do it all by itself, just testing that. What is the Boolean condition that will let me do that? Do I use ands? Do I use ors? Do I use greater thans? Do I equals? And so on. Figure that out all by itself. Get that working. And once you have that working, then we have the part of the code that does the looping. You already know how to input some things, and you already know how to print things. Within the calculations, this is where we'll do some ifs and so on. Oh, if they input an R, then I'll calculate things this way. I suggest that you then just do the calculations without the loops. So if I have an R, what will the calculation be? Just do that one. Don't try to do all of them. Just do R. And once you get that working, you can plug that into your loop, and now you can loop around, and your program will only work correctly for R. You get that working, that's like, okay, let's tackle one of the other ones. Maybe doing the C. All right, so now let's handle inputting a C. And you do these one at a time. You can test them by themselves. And one of the things that I have ignored at this point, and I suggest you ignore, is the situation like we saw in the code where the dial will wrap around. Forget about it. Don't do it. That's an exceptional case. Leave it until the end. Your whole program is working. Then go back and handle the exceptional cases. Do the other parts first. So write a loop, and then start doing the codes one at a time. And then when you get the whole thing working, then you can build in this sort of exceptional case. So hopefully I've given you some ideas how to break this down into some smaller pieces. You can focus on those, and that will make your job of developing this code a lot better, a lot faster. Again, breaking it down into smaller pieces. One final thing, how about getting help with other people? All right, as long as you're talking in English, like if the input is R, then my cost is 8 times 1,000 or something like that. Otherwise, if the input is C, then I'll do something else. Notice that's an algorithm. It's a description in English. Talk about that with, develop an algorithm in English on how to do this. Do this thing in pencil and paper. Make sure you know how to do it. Work together with somebody on the English of how to do this, and then you can split up. When we want you working on Python, we want you working by yourself. But create the algorithm in English, develop and work together with somebody on that, and then afterwards create the Python and test it out, and away you go. All right, thank you.